So shall we have roll call? Bill Kelly.
Here.
Charlie Sampson.
Here.
Jeffrey. Jeffrey's second.
Here.
Sam.
Here.
David.
Here.
Valerie.
Here.
Paula. Here. Have we heard from Christine?
No, not today, I did not.
Okay, Dennis?
Here.
And Andrew?
Here.
Thank you, everybody. So do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will make that motion to approve.
We're okay to do that, right, Joan? There's a
Yeah.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I add that now?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to add one more item to the agenda, please.
Okay, under new business, all right.
Can I just slide it on?
Yep.
Okay. It's consideration of a raise for the DDA director. So could we, well, why don't we just take care of it right now? The executive committee has met to discuss giving Joan a raise, which is something that is pretty far behind. And so we have unanimously suggested a $5,000 a year raise effective immediately.
Yes.
Would somebody like to make a motion to that effect?
I would
I
love
will-
to make that motion.
A second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you,
Unanimous.
Joan.
Thank you
Joan.
so much, Joan.
Was happy that we had a budget, so we knew for sure that we had the $5,000 to pay you.
Right.
Okay, director report, please.
Yes. On downtown businesses, we've got 139 West 14 Mile Mangiamo that has opened. And they offer local and imported gourmet food items. Their first cooking demonstration is this Wednesday. They'll be doing, they've got a pretty good lineup on their website of cooking demonstrations. She's been open for a week. She's already noticed that she's going to expand her product line, which is a nice thing. She'll probably be doing gift baskets with food items, and she's got a nice selection. And they'll soon offer custom charcuterie boards. So a really nice addition to the downtown.
When's she going to bring some in?
We'll set up a ribbon cutting. She wasn't sure yet. She was in shop yesterday when I went in, just waiting for the internet people to show up. But very excited. Had even just a small opening with family and friends, and was open on the weekend when people were walking around for the car show coming into town. So she had her door open and got a lot of people just walk-in traffic to check things out, and did really well. So excited. It's a real cute shop, and it looks such a nice business there on the end with Three Cats, Leon and Lulu, and Eclectic Home. It makes a nice little place to visit. So always happy to have new businesses, and it's this seems like a really nice one. The former Limbs Palace renovations are underway, and 24 East 14 Mile continues on the second story. Is that nearly done, Dennis?
Yeah, by October.
Okay, cool, thank you. Outside the downtown, we have 400 South Main and 133 South Main renovations that continue, and that is down on South Main by Charlevoix, and then the former Famous Chicken, which has had everything on the outside pretty much removed at this point. So looking forward to having, that's going to be Biscuits and Gravy is the name of it.
Are
Other
they expanding the
development.
footprint at all of that building?
Pardon?
Are they expanding the footprint of that building at
No.
all?
No.
No, they're just renovating the interior.
Yeah. And other development, we have the mixed-use development at 516 North Main, and then Elliott Park Apartments on Rochester Road, which are nearing completion. And other news, Clawson has officially been recognized as a redevelopment-ready community by the state of Michigan. So Elizabeth King from the Michigan Economic Development Corp. Was at council last night to make the official presentation. So we have a nice little, what would you call that? That's not a plaque, but a
Trophy.
trophy. There we go.
Yeah, it's a trophy.
That accreditation is a big deal, and it's something Joan has been working on for quite a long time, so it's very
Right.
exciting to be
3 years,
recognized as 3 years
at least, yeah.
as a development-ready downtown.
Good job, Joe.
Great job.
Great
Yeah,
job.
It took a whole team. There was a lot of people involved in doing it. I think I was just kind of the engine that kept pushing it forward, so very happy to see that done. And other news, we still have municipal dumpsters, I mean, going from high to low here. I think that we have the volume problem fixed with the extra dumpsters or larger ones. I am researching other cans to be on the sidewalk. Tringali will not pick up the barrels because they can't use the truck to pick them up. So that was an unfortunate thing that we found out after we purchased them. DPW gave me the number where to purchase them, and we got them, and then we find out Tringali won't pick them up. So they are recommending those big rolly carts, which are those things that you take out to the curb with your garbage. They're not all that stable. I've heard problems with them in a high wind dumping over. So I'm looking for other solutions. I found one company that sells the cart with an enclosure. It's like they call it a garage. Door opens, cart rolls in, door closes, and you've got a nice four-sided container that has an opening in the top that you can put your trash down. So it's covered in the rain, and we don't have those big open containers that, get rain and that.
How much are they, Joan?
$1,309.
And how many do we need?
We need, I would say 6 anyway.
Are they as tall as that standard cart? I
They
would
are,
think
they're a
that
65
opening
gallon. So
Okay,
they
so
come
that's
in.
smaller.
It's bigger.
10 gallons
The- the
more.
I thought
barrels-
the big
barrels
carts were
are
like
50
90.
The barrels are 55 gallon,
Yeah.
Okay.
and these are 65.
But then I think the Tringali big cart ones are 90, aren't they?
They may have one that size. No, wait, I'm sorry. This is the 96 gallon I'm talking about. They have 30, 60, 90. And I
Okay.
went for the largest one, which was the 90, so that we wouldn't have such an overfill problem. With these, at least the container looks nice. You're not looking at you're not looking at the garbage can
And how often do we use them?
every day.
To be looking at, they potentially would replace the ones that we have out there.
So it's all the
now
ones that are at the
looking-
edges of the world?
Those are more, yeah, I don't think we have them, might have to do something else at the edges, and it's a work in progress. Because I don't think we have the budget to put them at every corner. That's a lot.
That's-
That is at least 8, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can put, maybe we can move the other older old streetscape ones back to those spots,
Yeah.
the black ones, and keep these larger ones where they're getting the most traffic.
Yep.
How does Tringali pick up those old ones?
They can grab the sides of them.
Oh, they can.
Yeah.
Small barrel inside the container, and they
Okay.
just pick it out. The 55-gallon drum, they can't pick up by
Yeah.
hand
Okay.
or even mechanically.
My only concern with the 96 gallon or whatever it is if it's so tall, accessibility to actually use it and might be a concern.
The dimensions were there, and it's something that's clearly usable. It gets a little wider,
Oh,
but it seemed like it would work fine. I asked DPW if maybe they would like to look at something like that in the park. And maybe we could, find a way to get maybe a better discount and see if that would work out in other areas of the city.
Yeah, they have 55-gallon drums in the park now, right?
I
Do that.
don't know what they have done there. But,
The extra capacity would be really good at the park by the picnic shelter,
Yeah.
events and such.
A lot of money, though.
but the metal ones like we have are, like $900,
And did you say we're 1,600?
13.
13?
Are they metal also, or are they composite?
They're metal.
Okay.
And you get a choice of
That
colors.
$1,300 is powder coated. If you want the zinc primer, which actually I talked to Kevin Pelkey at Gills, recommended that you probably get the zinc primer, which would add $100 to it. It makes the paint last a little longer with the salt corrosion. So that's all I have. I will, after I hear from Trevor and see if there's any way we can get a better price on that, I will let you know. We had hoped to maybe get something sooner because those barrels, Charlie is actually picking them up.
I just checked Taverns over the top.
It's over the top again, I
was
saw
like,
it yesterday.
okay, so
So we, our own people are picking up trash, which is lovely, but buying the rolly carts and then leaving those giant trash cans out really didn't seem, as not good looking as the barrels may be, those giant cans that you see at the street all the time really don't add a whole lot to the streetscape either. And
To confirm, the trash can isn't $1,300, is it? It's just the enclosure?
it's the enclosure and the cart.
Okay.
Which
How
is
much
why-
is the cart?
I think they were, I have to remember, Dennis. It seems like over $100.
Okay.
Yeah.
All that stuff is surprisingly expensive.
Yeah.
And then if we don't buy it, you can't buy the enclosure without the cart.
Okay.
So.
Do you think we could get some picture? Do you think we could get some pictures of them and take a look at it? And
Sure.
And a budget, and then we could either continue the discussion by email or have another meeting to
Yeah.
discuss, because we're
I'll
talking about a
distribute the-
$10,000 spend here, right?
Yeah, I'll distribute the pictures to y'all, and I'll see if the city wants to go in on anything.
Okay.
Whatever
It
we
also
can do.
seems that this would fit into our general streetscape improvements, and some of the money we usually use for facade improvement grants might go to this.
Yeah, I
Because
think
this would
it's
be a
matter
curb
of
improvement grant.
prioritizing.
I mean, if
What?
you
It's just a matter of prioritizing.
Yeah.
We look at all the funds that we have and.
Right.
looking at like where it was in Noble Fish in that area where the heaviest traffic of trash is, there's 3 trash cans in that area that are overflowing. So this would help kind of eliminate that as well, which would just make it look a lot better.
I think it's a great idea. I just am going through my usual process of sticker shock followed by acceptance. It's like the 5 stages of grief.
Yeah.
It's the 5 stages of buying something expensive.
So these containers actually look like trash cans? I mean, are they identifiable as a
Yes.
trash can?
Yes,
And
they are.
they're so large. Are they different colors?
I think what we need, Bill, is to get pictures of them so we
Yeah.
can look at it and figure out what we want to do, and then we'll
Yeah,
either do a remote vote or whatever on the purchase of them. Is that okay? Then we
Yeah.
can see what they're, we'll see a scale picture and color choices.
yeah.
Right. They can be painted. They said, and when I looked them up, they said that there were panel inserts, but when I talked to the rep yesterday, it said they gave those, they don't longer do those because they don't last as long, but those could have been decorated, but I think it seems a good solution, and I looked for a lot of other sources, but seems proprietary. I can't find another can like this, so.
Okay. What else, Joan?
I think that was it.
All right, the city manager is not with us today, so we don't have a city manager report.
He did.
But
he
you
did
probably
text-
covered everything.
He did text and say that he was running 5 or 10 minutes or,
It's going to be longer than that, he said.
okay.
Okay, shall we, do you have more, Joan?
No.
Okay, let's talk about Dine Clausen.
All right, big thing is Clausen Fest coming up on the 27th. Currently, we have about 8 restaurants that are going to be on site serving, as well as a lot of other restaurants that help sponsor the event as well. So far, the setup, we're going to be doing a kind of a picnic area on the where the bushes are right in front of the field, so that we can have kind of the social district and all that. I'm going to be doing signage out there to kind of encourage people to be, this is where you can drink, this is, kind of what we go. Sam's going to rent us some tables, so thank you, Sam, for that.
You're welcome.
Really, really big help, because last year there was nowhere to eat, so.
Do we have chairs?
Do we have
Bringing chairs as well.
Cool, he's renting us chairs too. So yeah,
Sure,
we're,
his pricing will be fabulous.
I hope so.
I thought it was fair.
So, but yeah, no, both the Shawns have done a great job on putting this together, and we're looking forward to this. So, other than that, that's about it. We're doing distributing cups today, figuring out that
Oh,
solution.
yes, thank you for
Yes.
remembering that.
I had to write it down because it was
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I walk by those boxes every time and think,
Yeah.
oh, we're like a month behind on
Yeah.
when we made the decision to get them out.
yeah. So we'll grab those after this and
I'll
do that.
distribute a couple of them right into my car.
Okay, fantastic.
Good. Thank you for remembering that, so I don't have to call you later.
Yep.
And then the alley. Any alley news?
Not really. We put some, the lights are up. We added a new dimmer because they didn't dim, so we had to fix that. So they should be dimming by this weekend.
Nice.
And then we did add some speakers there, so we have the opportunity to utilize that. How? We don't know yet, but they're there.
Did the furniture come in yet? Do we
Yeah,
know?
the furniture's there. I saw it last
The
night.
table.
Oh, was it out?
Yeah, there are
I
chairs.
haven't,
Yep.
I haven't come.
Our boys took them over and put them in on Saturday.
Yeah.
Did the
Nice.
4th table come in?
I think he put 4 over there.
Okay. I saw.
Yes, he
I saw
did,
3
because there were.
Yesterday, and,
I don't know.
But,
If
okay.
not, we'll get it over there, but I think there's 4.
okay.
Every time I walk past there, someone is sitting there, so that's a good sign.
Excellent.
Yeah. Do we need more?
People have mentioned that we need more, but I don't know.
It seemed like, looking at it yesterday, we could even put 2 right in the center. There's plenty of room to walk around them. It looks a little more populated than,
What are we going to do with those tables in the winter?
they all fold up.
But then after they get folded up, where do they go?
Yeah, we haven't got that far, Mary
Oh, okay,
Liz.
fine. We could put them where the cups are.
Yeah, the tables fold up and the chairs fold up, which was one of the features that we liked about them. I'll have to see. I'm hoping, my garage is full. In fact, I'm going to start, some of that stuff's going to have to go elsewhere. But hopefully DPW can find a spot since they're foldable. I'll ask. On one last thing before we leave, where are we on the agenda? We jumped past Clausen Fest because Charlie pretty well covered it under Down Clausen, but when the meeting was held, the committee meeting on Monday night, and it was pointed out that the crosswalk on South Main is pretty faded and nearly non-existent, so, and he mentioned it at the meeting, at the council meeting last night. So I've written Trevor and asked if that can be restriped.
Good. That's awesome.
So hopefully that can happen. And that was my only contribution to that.
Okay, shall we move into Does anybody have any questions about all of these festive topics? Okay, how about if we move on to new business, consideration of the invoice general ledger reports for April, May, and June. And this is exciting because I think we're coming almost to the end of the road of accounting misery.
Right. I included the general ledger report since we didn't approve finance reports for April, May, and June, because the revenue and expenditure report was incorrect. And if the revenue was incorrect, nobody wanted to approve any finance report. We can't go back and recreate revenue and expenditure reports and have them right. So I just give you the general ledger report so that you saw what we spent money on those months. So were there any questions on that?
It's pretty clear.
Okay.
It is. I see there's someone in the audience, maybe they're here to discuss any issues or clarify anything that's
If you have
happened.
any questions, I will try to answer any and all questions that you have.
Yeah, come on up. So what can you tell, first of all, your name again?
Kelly Rao, Finance Director.
Okay. We were, as you may or may not have heard, very confused as to the accountability of accounting thus far.
I'm not sure what you mean by that. but-
Oh, they're true. They're very true words. The accountability, which means if you're an accountant, the accountability of the accountant was confusing to us. We got a story paper at our last meeting regarding the numbers. They were conceived to be July is when this issue started.
Are you speaking specifically about property taxes?
TIF, yeah.
That would be, actually, it was brought to my attention right before the former treasurer left. And we worked hard to get the numbers. I am not a treasurer. I know 60% of treasury work, so I can stumble my way through it. We've worked with the county on several occasions. There were a lot of fires that had to be put out in the treasurer's office, so that was the delay. It has been resolved for FY22, FY23. We have a new treasurer in place now, so hopefully there won't be any issues
So
going
you're
forward.
not typically familiar with treasury work.
I am typically familiar with treasury work. When it comes to brownfields and TIFAs, they are a little bit more difficult. The reporting that was provided to me by the former treasurer was incorrect, as she had stated to me like the very last week in April, right before she left. So
You knew that
I did not know what happened or how it happened. She just said it was reported to me incorrectly, so we worked to get that fixed. That's all I can discuss about the property taxes. It has been fixed. It has been resolved. I have reported it correctly on the financial statements, so I think Joan, myself, and the city manager are all in agreement that it is now correct, and I think going forward, we should just make sure that they are reported properly. It's definitely on my radar going forward on where to find the information from the treasurer when it's provided to me, so.
So you're saying that you had knowledge of that information in April?
That is correct.
Which is about right, because we get those numbers, anybody can get those numbers from Oakland County. Did you do any communication with Oakland County? If you're not in-
Once it was brought to my attention, sir, I was in constant contact with Oakland County, yes.
So you were in contact with them in April?
Not in April. It was brought to my attention the very end of April, excuse me, by Stacy Hodges, in May and June and July, tried to work through it with Joan. Obviously, there were other tasks that had my attention that were more important, so we didn't let the city fully collapse under itself without a treasurer's staff. So,
Well, I think at this point, we do have the numbers that we need finally, and we will just make sure that they're kept up to date. I don't know whether this board needs to hire backup accounting help,
that's all on you. If you'd like to do that, you've certainly, on your,
but it's something I think we might want to consider, just so we don't get into a quagmire like this again. However, we're very happy to have it. Does anybody else have any questions?
thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we need to do each of these?
No, I just wanted to, because there had been so much time that was going on this, I just wanted to let you know that how I laid things out, just so that you'd understand that we are all good.
It was very clear.
The revenue and expenditure report was changed for the year end. We did not have that in June for our meeting, but by 6:30, it was changed. So the revenue shown on the year-to-date balance is correct. So the year end did close out correctly. In July, starting the new year, you've got the general ledger report and revenue and expenditure report for the new year. The revenue shown on that will be correct. And I actually have just noticed that this shows the amended, but actually the amended budget shown on here for the period ending 7/31/22 is not correct. So that, I guess, is going to change when the 2022-23 budget is amended to match up to the county reports. So I guess I would suggest we do not.
Approve it.
Well, wait, get over into I'm sorry. Give me just a second here. Oh, no, I'm sorry, we're okay. She did put did so many spreadsheets lately. She did put the 2 mil levy back in there instead of lumping it together as current property tax. So it is, no, it's still not a correct amount. 204 was our amount from the county.
It says amended budget, however, it has not actually been amended. It will, if I ran another report, it will match the original budget that council adopted. The additional, I think there was additional monies that was determined from the county has not been included in this, as it will have to be
Right.
sent to council. So I think that's where your confusion is, Joan.
Thank you.
So it's a revenue and expenditure report, but actually the revenue is not correct. Last year, April, May, and June, when this happened,
So the revenue's not correct until the
Yep.
amended budget goes to council, then we get it back? Is that correct?
My understanding, and I believe Joan sent me a budget amendment last week, my understanding is council, once I submit that to council, they'll approve the budget amendment based on what DDA recommends.
and it's not exactly our recommendation, it is it's the county,
Madam Chair, the correct order is that the governing body would approve it, and then it would be approved by you. However, in our unique situation, in this, it's not even unique, we didn't coordinate in a timely fashion early on, and so now we have the opportunity to work with the DDA so that what you see after council approves it is actually what you already, there'll be no surprise.
So we're asking the council to approve a budget that we have not approved?
well, that's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
Okay.
But we generally submit a budget for their consideration, and they
That's what I
approve
thought
it,
we had done in
yes.
the past, was give them something,
Because because of the problems that we did have, that didn't occur. It occurred, but we had the challenges that we had. So,
Well, yeah, it occurred, but the budgets that we submitted were, or whoever submitted were not correct, so they could not be approved, and you couldn't work with them. And we'll never get our new trash cans if we don't know how much money we have.
So the actual, according to the county, the actual total tax revenue for 22-23 is going to be $204,935.49. So on this revenue and expenditure report where it shows basically 178,000 is not correct. And again, this is where we ran into the problem April, May, and June.
Right.
Because this wasn't correct, you didn't accept financial reports. So I'm maybe just suggest that on this one item 7B, or 7,
you have B and C on there.
7C, yeah, I'd see that. That 7C, you just don't accept the revenue and expenditure report, but the general ledger is fine.
Okay, well, I don't think we can accept it till it's correct, personally.
Correct.
But you're saying A and B were corrected before the end of year end, so we could approve A and B, and we would just wait until the reporting is corrected for C and D?
That seems logical.
Can I interject? The report is actually correct. This is the budget based on what council approved.
Previously approved,
There
right.
is going to be a budget amendment that will increase, I believe, the property tax revenues. So the report is correct based on all
What is
legal
approved.
information that council has adopted. The activity in there is current, is what has happened for the month of July. So all of this is correct, based on what has previously been adopted, all the activity that has been, that has happened in the month of July. So I just want to clarify that. It is
So
a
you're-
correct report.
So we're expecting council to grant an additional revenue.
Well, they're
That would be my assumption, that they would approve that.
You're also saying that council did have an accurate budget, which is what they...
Council had a budget that they adopted. It
Not
was
an
after
accurate
the
one,
fact.
but a budget.
The budget was discussed with the DDA director, revenues and expenditures. It was after the fact, when it was brought to our attention from the former treasurer that the brownfield was incorrect, that we took another look at what was submitted to council for the property tax revenues. So that will be corrected with an amendment.
Was that brownfield, those numbers, part of our numbers that we received?
They don't affect the DDA.
No, not at all.
And there was some question as to whether it did, but in looking at it and going over it with the county, it doesn't even affect the TIF. It comes out of the state
But
share.
just a budget is there to be amended. There's many times throughout the year that it will be amended, whether we give a DDA director a raise, that will have to be amended. Whether we buy trash cans, if there's not sufficient funds in one account, we'll have to amend it to move from another account. So that's what a budget is for, is to be amended. We will increase based on the property tax revenues. I believe it was an increase. We will adjust that accordingly with an amendment to council as required by ordinance or charter. And so it is there, it is correct at this point in time. It will be adjusted. Thank you.
All right, so we can definitely vote to approve A and B.
We
I will.
actually may need to approve D. Does that need to be done before it goes to council? So we need to approve our proposed budget so that it,
No, they're saying council gives us a budget.
Well, we have always proposed a budget because we understand our expenditures. So we have set those line items in how we want our budget to be arranged and distributed throughout the year. Now,
In the past, we put together our budget, and council would review it and look at it, and and do as they saw fit and return it to us. But this year, we haven't, I don't believe, have had
Well, we
the-
submitted, we went over numbers that the county gave us, which is how we ended up getting it corrected for the end of June report. Those were submitted before, but
And we
there was
reviewed
some
it last
confusion.
month's meeting, those budget numbers, correct? Or the one 2 weeks ago, maybe?
Yeah, the
I
one
don't
2
know, a
weeks ago.
previous
Yeah,
meeting.
right, so on what
So
we're
we would need to
proposing.
propose it so that it goes to council for them to issue us back that amended budget, right?
Correct. Yes.
But it is hard for us to approve something that
Well, it
isn't correct.
requires an amendment, and we now know what that amendment is. And we expect that it will be amended in due time, and we can certainly watch out for that. So I don't have a problem accepting the general ledger report and so forth, and keeping this process moving forward. We just have to keep an eye out for the amendments and make sure it stays correct.
So
Any
can-
other-
Can there be language to that effect? Put an amendment in there and subject to approval because budget needs to be corrected?
Well, sure. We can propose that we accept items A, B, C. Do we want to talk about the budget before we get any further?
Oh, we can. We went over the budget.
I think we're pretty well covered on it.
We went over it. The only thing missing that we talked about 2 weeks ago is interest income, which Kelly said she was still working on, but it's not going to be a great amount. But the local community stabilization share was something else, and apparently that, I sent you that spreadsheet, Mary Liz, it's a 7-page spreadsheet.
It's boggling
Yeah.
for those of us mere mortals.
I've spent hours and hours trying to do that. I've been in contact with 3 different people at the state level to try and help with it. I only have a couple columns left. I'd hoped to have those done yesterday. And hopefully, it's a report that has not been filed since 2019. And the Local Community Stabilization Act helps give back a little bit of the money that disappeared when personal property tax ended. So hopefully, we will see a few $1,000s out of this, and I would like to say I'd have an answer on that today. I just have to get those last few confusing columns figured out, and then I can add that. So if you agree with the way that we talked about the budget 2 weeks ago, we filled out our expenditures, we know that our revenues are correct according to the state, county reporting. So if you're in agreement with the budget and understand that there may be additional revenue added through the local community stabilization share, if everything else is fine and the understanding.
And Kelly's right, it is a living document. It is a document that's always being changed and amended and added and subtracted.
I would
So-
propose that we review, if you get that answer today or tomorrow, plus we make the updated increase to the salary, and we all give it one last look, and if we can do like even a virtual meeting or a virtual approval, it'd be a little bit more final.
Okay.
I think we've already talked this to death for 6 months.
Yeah.
I think we just approve it moving
Subject to the
forward, and
amendments.
it's a live document. It's going to change, and we just have to accept that.
Well, I don't think accepting that is a problem, because we now have the right base on it. So
Right.
we've got the information that we've been looking for since, for the last 3 or 4 months. Now we've got that, so as it goes forward, it'll continue to update. We just have to be really sure that we stay on top of it and don't allow it to lapse the way it
Right.
has before.
Right.
So somebody make a motion here. Do we want to accept it as it is, or do we want to do one more review of the budget before we accept it and have a virtual meeting to do that?
I make a motion that just we accept everything as it is, understanding it's a living document and it's going to be amended.
Is there a
I'll
second to that?
That's fine.
Second?
Yep.
All in favor of accepting the budget, the general ledger, the revenue and expenditure report,
So A through D?
A through D.
Yep, okay.
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone object? Hallelujah, brothers and sisters. Okay.
When I get that information, though, I'll send it out to you just for your FYI.
So what about the recovery zone? You're doing that, the
I
recovery zone
just
bond.
include, yeah, I just included it because there were some questions about what our debt is. We don't actually have a loan that we can like pay off early.
Yeah.
This is a bond with a debt schedule. So just for your own information, I just included the table that shows the payments, and
We're right up to date. We're doing everything as exactly
Yes.
as we're supposed to, so we can use our $38,000 for good.
and it stays, it stays until 2030, the
Okay.
bond payments.
All right. Do
Closer
we
to
have
that
any other?
every day.
What?
Doesn't seem that far away anymore, 2030, where once it seemed like
Oh, crap.
far into
Yeah,
the
yeah.
future.
Yeah, it was.
Any other comments from our board? Joe, did you have anything that you wanted to add to us?
Madam Chair, Mayor, board members, my apologies for my tardiness. Appreciate meeting with you during the week, ma'am. You see that the centennial for the police and fire banners are up, and my apologies that there was a misunderstanding as far as the temporary sign that was put up for Clausenfest. That location is going to become a quote-unquote permanent temporary site for a sign, so that in the future, we're going to put some permanent holes in the ground so that whenever there's another DDA event, we can just put some standardized signage in there and it can be a promotion site, so there won't be any more issues, so.
They're putting that sign up today.
Yeah.
Charlie's got it behind
All
his
zip
building.
tied, ready to go.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, but while you're here, do you have any news on garbage cans or
I do not, ma'am.
any of those
Are you
issues?
talking about the garbage cans in the social district?
I'm talking about the dumpsters and whether there was any attempt to add recycling to any place, if there was a possibility of that.
No, ma'am.
It's the garbage wars, you
Yes,
know, I'm
no,
just always
yes,
kind of
ma'am.
staying on top of it.
No, I do not have anything to report on that.
Okay. The other thing that's come up recently in sort of downtown chat is the maintenance of our flower beds and our islands. Who exactly maintains that? Who's responsible for watering it? And who's keeping it up to date?
I'll defer to the historic reference that Joan Horton can probably deliver, but my understanding initially was that early on, it was the DPW was maintaining it.
That was my understanding.
And then I want to say that there were some benevolent citizens that got involved, and then there were some watering schedule, conversation about baskets that didn't materialize this year.
No, we gave up on the
Yep,
baskets
yep,
because
yep.
we knew they wouldn't be maintained.
Right. And then it kind of got lost in the sauce right there, right
Yeah,
around there.
DPW did do the maintenance. We have somebody that comes in every year in the spring, cuts things back and does weeding and fills it with weed kill. And then the DPW maintained after that. During COVID, when there was no staff on DPW and no landscapers working, that's when the islands kind of fell to the side, and it never got picked back up. DPW is the one that does that. So
And I think we learned the difference between landscapers and forests. Gardeners, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we need in the deep downtown.
Well, yeah,
The flower
you know-
baskets, gardeners that can handle these flowers and feed them
Well, I
nourishment
just think
whenever they
we
need.
need to figure out who's responsible for what and get fall maintenance done so that we start in the spring solid on it. And are you having a problem with sprinklers?
Yes. We have been trying to locate sprinklers for the right-of-way with DPW for a few months now.
How many months?
Several.
Wow.
And we've proposed a solution where, even water comes off of our building and, can't get a resolution there.
I don't
They just can't
understand.
find the sprinkler line,
Correct.
is that
They capped it off a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And weren't able to relocate it. And it's just.
So you can't get landscaping done in
Right.
front of your building that you have to do by your site plan because you don't have any water
Right,
in the right-of-way that the city is supposed to provide.
correct.
I will look into both items.
That'd be terrific. We'd appreciate whatever help we can give them.
Yes, ma'am.
It's going to be beautiful down there at the end of the street, wherever that street is.
Yes, ma'am.
So they need a sprinkler.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Thank you for joining us today. Kelly, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. Does anybody in the public, of which we have done, have a question? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I would make that.
Is there a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.